Hello everyone, I am Vishaka Birhade, Assistant Professor, Department of Economics from the Bhopal School of Social Sciences. The main aim of today's module is to make you understand the different sectors of the Indian economy and its basic or characteristic features. So, let us first begin with the sectors of the economy. Basically, the Indian economy can be divided into three different sectors, namely primary sector, secondary sector, and last is the tertiary sector. Let us have a look at them one by one. The primary sector is when the economic activity depends mainly upon the exploitation of natural resources, then that activity comes under the primary sector. For example, agriculture and agriculture related activities or the allied activities are the part of the primary sector. Number 2 is the secondary sector, where when the main activity involves manufacturing, then it becomes the secondary sector. All industrial production where physical goods are produced, for example, small scale, large scale cottage industries are a part of the industrial sector or the secondary sector. And the third one is the tertiary sector, when the activity involves providing intangible goods like services, then it is a part of the tertiary sector. For example, management consultancy, telephony, banking, insurance are the major examples of the tertiary sector. India is a developing country and our economy is a mixed economy where the public sector coexists with the private sector. India is a low-income developing economy. Poverty is not only acute but is also a chronic problem in India. At the same time, there exists unutilized natural resources. Therefore, it is important to understand the basic characteristics or features of the Indian economy, treating it as one of the poor but developing economies of the world. So, let us see the basic features of Indian economy one by one. Number 1, low per capita income. The per capita income of an Indian in 2014 was $1,570. Bearing a few countries, the per capita income of the Indian people is the lowest in the world. During 1960 to 1980, developed economies grew at a faster rate than the Indian economy. But during 1990 to 2014, Indian economy has grown at a faster rate than the developed economies. Even then, the difference in per capita income between India and the developed economies is quite large. Number 2 is the occupational pattern. One of the basic characteristics of Indian economy is that it is primary producing. A high proportion of population is engaged in agriculture, which contributes a very large share in the national income. In India, in 2014, about 47% of the working population or the labor force was engaged in agriculture, and its contribution to the national income was 17%. Hence, agriculture continues to be a depressed industry as the productivity per person engaged in it is very low. The table clearly reveals the percentage of active population engaged in agriculture and industrial origin of GDP in 2014. It can be clearly observed from the figure that the workforce participation or the workforce engaged in the agriculture is very high in India as compared to the other advanced countries. Similarly, it can be seen that the contribution of the services sector, that is the tertiary sector, is very high in the national income amongst the developed countries as compared to the Indian economy. Number 3, heavy population pressure. The main problem in India is the high level of birth rates coupled with a falling level of death rates. The population growth rate, which was about 1.31% per annum during 1941-50, has risen to 1.93% during 1991-2001. The average annual rate of growth of population during 2001-2011 has further declined to 1.64%. The major reason behind this rapid spurt to population growth is the steep fall in the death rate from 49 per thousand during 1911-20 to 7.4 per thousand in 2008. As compared to this, the birth rate has declined from about 49 per thousand during 1911-20 to 22.1 per thousand in 2010. To maintain a rapidly growing population, the requirements of food, clothing, shelter, medicine, schooling, etc. rises heavily. Thus, a rising population imposes greater economic burdens, and consequently, society has to make a much greater effort to initiate the process of growth. Moving ahead, number 4 is the prevalence of chronic unemployment and underemployment. In India, labor is an abundant factor, and consequently, it is very difficult to provide gainful employment to the entire working population. In developed countries, unemployment is of a cyclical nature and occurs mainly due to lack of effective demand. But in India, unemployment is structural and is the result of a deficiency of capital. The Indian economy does not find sufficient capital to expand its industries to such an extent that the entire labor force is absorbed. Moreover, in the agricultural sector, a much larger proportion of population or a much larger number of laborers are engaged in production than are really needed. Accordingly, the marginal product of labor in agriculture is often negligible. It may be zero or even be negative. Thus, there exists disguised unemployment in agricultural sector. Moving ahead, number 5 is steadily improving rate of capital formation. During the 50s and the 60s of the 20th century, basic characteristic of the Indian economy was the existence of capital deficiency, which is reflected mainly in two ways. Firstly, the amount of capital per head available was very low, and secondly, the rate of capital formation was very low. An important indicator of low capital per head available in underdeveloped countries is the consumption of energy. It is clearly visible in the table of energy consumption that the per capita consumption in India is extremely low as compared to that of the developed economies. Whereas, the second table reveals that the rate of gross capital formation in India is higher than that of the developed countries. In a country like India, where the population growth rate is pretty high, more investment and high level of gross capital formation is needed to offset the additional burden imposed by a rising population, so that India may cover depreciation and maintain the same level of living. Proceeding further, the sixth one is maldistribution of wealth or assets. RBI survey of assets of rural and urban households for the period July 1991 to June 1992 reveals sharp inequalities in asset distribution. In rural areas, 27% of households owning less than Rs 20,000 worth of assets accounted for 2.4% of the total assets. Similarly, about 24% of households in the asset range of rupees 20,000 to 50,000 owned barely 7.5% of the total assets. This implies that nearly 51% of the bottom households owned just 10% of the total assets. As against it, 9.6% of the rich households owning assets worth rupees 2.5 lakh and above accounted for nearly 49% of the total assets. This finding of RBI is also supported by the National Sample Survey, which reveals that 60% of the poor rural households owned only 9.3% of area operated. They had only 14% of cattle heads and just 10% of wooden plows. Moving ahead, number 7th is poor quality of human capital. Most of the underdeveloped countries suffer from mass illiteracy, which in turn retards growth. A minimum level of education is needed to acquire skills, but if we enlarge the definition of capital formation, we come to know that expenditure on education, skill formation, research and improvements in health are included in the human capital. The Indian public expenditure on primary to higher education and research and development in 2002-2004 was 3.3% of GDP. The corresponding figure for USA was 5.9% of GDP. Public expenditure on health in India was miserably low at 1.1% of the GDP in 2007. It is very distressing to know that India has been ranked at number 136 on the basis of HDI in 2012, while China stands at number 101. Proceeding further, the 8th characteristic feature is prevalence of low level of technology. In a developing economy like India, majority of the productive units and a major part of the output is produced with the help of poor or inferior techniques, and very less is the use of modern techniques. Since new techniques are expensive and require a considerable degree of skill for their application in the production process, it is necessary to have a basic minimum level of education to absorb new technology. Deficiency of capital, illiteracy, and absence of skilled labor are the major hurdles in the spread of technology. Indian economy suffers from this basic weakness. The low productivity per hectare in agriculture and the low level of productivity per worker in agriculture and the industrial sector are largely a consequence of technological backwardness. Proceeding further, number 9th is low level of living of the average Indian. Failure to secure a balanced diet manifests in India in the low calorie intake and low level of consumption of proteins. In 1999, the average calorie intake of food was only 2,496 as compared to over 3,400 calories per day in most of the developed countries. According to the Census of India 2001, only about 52% of households were living in permanent houses, about 30% were living in semi-permanent houses, and 18% were living in temporary households. Last but not the least, number 10, demographic characteristics of an underdeveloped country. India has high density of population with low average expectation of life, whereas the infant mortality rates, birth rates, and illiteracy are also high in the country. With this, we conclude with the video. I hope you have understood the basic features of the Indian economy. Thank you for watching.